In the teaser picture of the semi that Tesla showed, a couple things stood out to me. It has really nice LED lights. The clearance lights appear to be where they're supposed to be, but the side looks a little strange. I can't see the door openings, so I'm wondering if there's like a rear exit or if it's just hidden. But I guess the door handles could be recessed like the Model S and Model X. And no mirrors. And there's no camera sticking out to where they would be able to see down the side of a trailer. So the cameras, if there are any cameras, would need to be on the trailer. Looking at the picture, it appears to have one large piece of glass that goes through the front and down the sides. But you can't see the middle, so it's hard to tell. I also see something on the passenger side above the headlight on the passenger side. Can't quite make out what it is. The center of the truck is completely blacked out, and I expect it to be, the center of the truck to be a lot more pointed than a normal semi truck, and that's to make it more aerodynamic, and they'll be able to do that because there isn't going to be much under the hood. It'll probably look similar to a international Lone Star. Go over some of the things that will probably be different from that truck and what's in current semi-trucks. I'll start with the gauges. Transmission temperature, exhaust, engine oil pressure, coolant temperature, diesel exhaust fluid levels, all those things will be gone. Probably replaced by battery temperature, motor temperature. Because of the weight, it might need those. And I doubt it would even be in a gauge form. Probably more so just a LCD screen like the Model S has. RPM, probably gone. Miles per hour, probably in digital form. Like this one, I probably don't use the regular speedometer anyway. I probably use this screen that this one actually has. Air pressure probably has to stay, probably moves to a digital form. The fuel obviously gets changed with battery. Engine oil temperature, gone. The trailer brake, that probably has to stay. You have to test the brakes on the trailer. Wiper fluid, mirror heat, and cruise control. Hopefully all that gets integrated closer to the steering wheel and not on the dash. Mirror adjustments, engine braking, that's something that'll probably be replaced with regenerative braking. It'll probably have different levels for you to set it up, depending on whether you're pulling a trailer or if you're bobtailing. This is a feature I mentioned in another video. Park reverse neutral is an automatic. I kind of wish the Model S had this over to the side. I don't feel like it needed that Mercedes-Benz stalk on the side. Wish I could just press it somewhere near the screen. Looking up top, storage, that'll be where the CB radio would be. I don't know how much they would change to the top. Air horn, they probably could move that somewhere else. Mirrors, I think the picture they showed didn't have any mirrors. I think that might be more of a pipe dream. I don't know if you're going to be able to get rid of the mirrors on the trucks anytime soon. Almost certainly won't have a CD player. This is a newer truck, so it has Bluetooth, which is nice. And they probably won't have this monstrosity of a steering wheel that doesn't have any controls on it. Definitely need a much more useful steering wheel. Also, the inner axle locks, the fifth wheel slide, and the suspension height will be down here. Those are three things that you're definitely going to need. The inner axle locks helps you not get stuck. Fifth wheel slide If you need to adjust your trailer, if you're pulling a shorter trailer, you need it a little bit to make a turn. You switching height, that pretty much just helps you disconnect from the trailer. Your brakes, your parking brakes, and your trailer brakes. You're gonna need that unless they're planning on moving away from air brakes. I don't see that happening because that would make it virtually impossible for the Tesla truck to be compatible with any truck on the road today. Pretty much standard air conditioning. It'll almost certainly be integrated with the screen. Something required in trucks today is your digital logbook, and I'm certain that they will probably integrate that into the screen, the touchscreen infotainment system also. Also, because there are so many lawyers that specialize in suing trucking companies, just about everybody's going to putting cameras in the trucks. So I'm sure they're gonna incorporate a camera into the truck. Our company uses Smart Drive. They'll probably have something similar to that. Camera facing in, camera pointing out. Okay, moving to the outside of the truck. One thing I noticed that wasn't on the Tesla teaser picture, it had no mirrors. I thought it was just the side mirrors. It didn't have the West Coast mirrors, no convex mirrors, or the spot mirrors in the front. Which means they're gonna have to have a lot of sensors on the trailer, or cameras on the trailer. Are they gonna be planning for fully autonomous out of the box? Let's look under the hood. This will be another big difference. That red thing right there is about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. That'll be somewhere you can save some weight, added battery weight that you're gonna get. And because there'll probably be a motor in the front, and maybe a motor in the front, definitely 2 motors in the back. I would probably imagine that the battery is going to be centered toward the front to get some of the weight in the front. Now with the autonomous trucks, if the truck's going to be driving itself, I wonder if they're going to be making their own trailers also. There's a couple of things I don't know if they, well, I'm sure they did, but a couple of things that will make it a little tricky. Because the trailer is going to need to communicate with the truck, or all the information for the trailer will have to be inputted. But I'm sure you don't want the truck to only be able to work with one type of trailer. Because in some situations, you might need to drive with your tandem slid all the way forward on these rails, and you might get to the place where you need to go, and you might have to slide them back. And right now, there's no mechanism for the truck to do this on its own. Because you have to get out and check and make sure those pins come out of place. Another thing I don't think they would care for is this big fuel tank right here. All trailers that carry food are going to have one of these to fuel their reefer. And these use a slightly different type of diesel, a more dirty, cheaper version of diesel. So that might be some incentive for them to get their own trailer and make it an electric trailer. The landing gear, somebody's got to get out and lift this up off the ground. That's probably not a big deal, but it's something that has to be done. More weight savings. Big fuel tank right here. Another big one on the other side. That's gonna save a significant amount of weight. Something I would imagine would stay the same. I don't know if it can stay the same. want to keep they're probably going to go with the same type of airlines and connections that regular trailers use. That way, the Tesla Semi is compatible with any other trailer. You don't want to have any compromises of what it can and can't do. You look under there, you see the big old transmission. I don't know if the glare allows you to see it. That shouldn't be necessary either. There's going to be some significant weight that you won't need. Big old exhaust, won't need that either. I imagine they still go with air brakes. I've heard some things about possibly using the trailers, regenerative braking, putting solar panels on top of the trailers, but I don't think that's very probable, because I mean you're kind of locking the tractor into a specific type of trailer, and I don't think that's something that's going to be accepted very well in the trucking industry. Diesel exhaust fluid, something else you won't need for a clean burning diesel. Yeah, right. It's a pretty nice sized tank right here, if you can see it. Pretty much all new trucks have it. Also, one more thing. For an autonomous truck, the trailer is pretty much going to have to be communicating with the tractor, now that I think about it, because if one of these tires blew out, it seems like the trailer tires blew out more than any tires that I've seen, the trucks are going to have to know, and it's going to know to get off the road. Okay, a couple more things about the Tesla truck. The charging time shouldn't be that big of an issue. All truck drivers are required to take a 10-hour break, so if they can get the battery charged to about 500, 600 miles in 10 hours, it will be fine. Just the fact that it's an electric vehicle, the regenerative braking would be a lot safer when you're going downhill. You won't be just speeding up out of control like you do in a regular truck, even with your engine brakes on it. The engine brakes only can do so much. If it's anything like the Tesla, the regenerative braking will be able to slow the truck down a lot better, especially if you have 3 motors instead of just the one that I have. If they're all working to do it, I mean, you'll get better. You'll have more torque, so you get better acceleration. So those short on ramps will be a lot safer. If it's an autonomous truck, I would wonder how that would affect your hours of service, because currently you're only allowed to drive 11 hours. But I wonder what the regulations would be if I'm driving for 11 hours, and I wonder what the regulations would be if I'm driving for 11 hours and the truck is driving itself for 5 of those hours. I wonder if they would slack off, or if the truck is driving itself, or if the truck does all of the driving on the freeway and the driver does all the city driving. One thing they definitely have to get better at is the GPS. The Tesla GPS isn't great. It's not terrible. It's probably somewhere. It's not as good as Google Maps, but it's not as bad as Apple Maps was when it first started. But the GPS would really have to be on point. It's going to have to recognize height restrictions. It's going to have to know how tall the load is. It's going to have to know what the load is. It can't allow itself to take a load of explosives through a tunnel. Like, I mean, that's kind of against the rules. It's gonna have to know where the tandems are slid. It's gonna have to know if the type of trailer it's pulling can make a specific turn, so it's not running over fire hydrants and scraping up against poles and ripping down awnings and hitting buildings. So right now, the Tesla parking sensors are very conservative. Like, when I'm backing into my garage, it thinks I'm going to hit the wall if I'm a foot or over a foot away. There are areas where I go with the truck and trailer when you have to be within inches on each side, and you have to just keep going. So that's something that could be an issue. in the charging areas, if they could get a charging agreement with one of the big truck companies, the Loves, the Loves, TA, Petrol Pilot, what's the other one? Loves, TA, Petrol Pilot, Flying J. If they can get a decent amount of charging at all of those, then that shouldn't be a problem. If you got any use out of this video and you're in the market for a new Tesla, feel free to save $1,000 by using my referral code at ts.la/Zacchaeus8490.